Hello, welcome back to some more Road to Rank 1. It's been a while, but I'm back. Today we're going to be playing some more Evasives. It's just, I'd say probably the list I'm the most comfortable on at the moment. I've got some changes. I'm playing a Shift Aladdin package instead of just kind of like a straight aggro. I've checked this on screen now. I'm going to just say as well, this starting hand is absolutely miserable. So this might be a quick game one, but I got this idea from someone called First to 20. I'll leave their channel in the description below. They're pretty big on evasives, it seems. I saw they were trying this and I thought I'd give it a go. I'm not sure how similar our lists are. I think they're very similar. But yeah, I just got the idea from there, so I thought I'd give them a mention. I see that they're trying to start a YouTube channel, so I thought, why not? But yeah, so okay, thankfully we draw 2 drops, so we can kind of fix our curve a little bit here. Probably Ink Pongo. Just go straight for the Flynn. Yeah, so I know that Amber Steel Songs is going to be quite popular, and that is really strong against this list, so I'm kind of cautious to play Evasives in this current state. It looks like we're going to be against it straight away. It seems really popular at the moment. We have a lot of uninkables in our hand, so I'm not feeling too good. Plus this isn't the best matchup ever, but yeah, I think this deck, Evasives, has a bad matchup against Amber Steel Songs just because they can play Grab Your Sword from like turn 3, or I guess actually turn 4. So they don't need to shift Tink. But then again, I do see a Musketeer Mickey, so maybe I'm feeling a bit better. Okay, they're going to smash Flynn, that's fine. They've not really done much. The main issue in this matchup is when they create just a really wide board. We can definitely ink Aladdin and just go straight for the Evasives, and then we can just go double Cusco as well, so we're not looking awful. Yeah, I need to start getting these videos out because I think rank 1 currently is like very high, like elo, so that's quite scary. I don't think I'll hit it this season, but you know, it's definitely worth going for. And you know, there's always other seasons to be had. Next set as well also got, like, not leaked, but there's some announcements being made, unofficial announcements of like characters and stuff, so super excited for that. I'll definitely be covering it when it's like official. Right now it's not official though, so there's no point really in just speculation, especially when my main thing on this channel is gameplay anyway. So yeah, we're gonna ink this through. Thankfully we've top decked a lot of decent inkable cards here. Our hands, I said it looked quite bad, but honestly we're looking quite good now. We're off to quite a slow start, which I think this deck kind of needs a good start. So I'm not terribly concerned. We do have the Genie for a bounce next time, provided that we do draw an inkable card. If we don't, we still got the Mother Knows Best, so we might even use Tinkerbell to sing and do a double bounce that will really slow the opponent down. If they quest with the Hans, they can ping the Tinkerbell and put it into like a Grab Your Sword range, which is quite scary, but you know, there's nothing we can really do to stop that, so that should be fine. I think I am going to go for this double bounce. It just buys us a lot of time, and then, or we can play a second Cusco. Yeah, okay, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to ink this cat, and then I'm going to go Genie, and I'm going to bounce this Maximus, and then I'm going to, I could sing Mother Knows Best, but I think I'd rather save it. So we're costing for 7 currently. The thought process is, if I bounce this turn, then they're really far behind on board. But if they leave this on board, it hasn't got enough to kill Cusco, so it should still get an extra quest. So I think I'll just quest just to put the pressure on. The opponent doesn't know that we have a bounce or Cusco in hand. I feel like as well, you know, Hans is an okay character, but there are definitely bigger threats. I'm not sure the exact list this person's playing. It looks like they're quite heavy on Musketeers. But either way, we should have enough answers to kind of carry out our momentum to a win in this game. We haven't seen any of the Aladdins, which is, you know, fine. In this matchup, it's fine. I think the main use for the Aladdin is just to, in those like aggro v aggro matchups, you can just steal the lore back from a really early turn, and you can kind of go on a back foot, which I think aggro v aggro kind of comes down to who is like better at trading and stuff. We are going to see the Hans use the ping to take out this Tinkerbell, so it might be better to bounce them. I wasn't really playing around that Tinkerbell, so that's my bad. But like I say, the Cusco is fine. The Cusco is still alive, which is my main thing. So I can even go Mother Knows Best, and then I can bounce Hans still. No, I have to sing, so that's not even worth it. We can just fully quest up to 14. We have 8 on board. Obviously, they're probably going to kill this Cusco and then maybe kill the genie, but yeah, not too bad. Not too bad overall. Quite happy with how we're doing in this game. We've seen no aerials from the opponent as well, so it makes you think they're kind of not playing the deck that everyone else is playing, but they are playing the same ink colors. So you know, mentally I'm kind of playing around those cards. I mean, I didn't play around the Tinkerbell, but that's just a little bit rusty, not played in a while. But yeah, there is another 1k happening, I think on the 9th. I might be incorrect on that, but there is another 1k happening. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting this hand can do the ping. I'm very rusty. Give me like 1 game. That's why I want to play Evasives as well, just because I'm quite comfortable on it. I mean, that's fine actually, because it forces them to trade the Tinkerbell, which I definitely will do. But yeah, there's another 1k happening on the 9th, I believe, around that time frame on one of the weekends. So I'll be covering the decks for that as well. Hopefully we see some new decks pop up. We're still early on in the metagame, so you know, we're still seeing Ruby Amethyst do really well, and Amber Steel Song's doing really well as well. I'm hoping to see some more like evasive presence. I don't think like Evasives is one of those decks that is going to be winning like a lot of tournaments, but I reckon it will come up and win maybe 1 or 2. And it's always interesting in these type of games when, you know, everyone's figured out kind of like what archetypes work, but no one's figured out like all the different tech cards. Like for example, I'm trying out Aladdin now. It's like a super interesting inclusion, but it still kind of helps you get towards that game plan and helps you in a matchup which is normally 50-50. So that's super good. I think we've seen a lot of Emerald pop up as well. So I'm just gonna go Peter Pan. I'm gonna just play right into the Grab Your Sword and just hope they don't have it. You know, we're kind of running out of gas. But yeah, you know, we think we've seen Emerald do really well with like Amethyst, but then again, every ink is doing well with Amethyst, so there's no surprise there. I think just card draw is just like a premium in this game. People have noticed it really early on as well. Okay, so I'm definitely expecting a Grab Your Sword here. Okay, no. I feel like they would have played, if they had Grab Your Sword, they would have played it there. But yeah, like I say, Amethyst card draw is just super strong. So, you know, it's bound to do well with most things. The reason I set up the Peter Pan and the Flynn Rider, by the way, is just because if once they kill the Cusco, it gets us free on board, so they need to find an answer. They've got the Tinkerbell pings, so yeah, I think unless they've got like a fire the cannon, that's kind of all you can have for 2 ink at this point. Oh, well, I guess they've got 3 now, so they can use Smash. But either way, feeling good. There's Dragonfire, no worries. We'll just quest up and yeah, win the first game of the episode. Still in Bronze 5, so I've got a lot of catching up to do. But yeah, I'll see you in the next game. Okay, in game 2, the mulligan looks a lot better than it did last game. I had a couple comments just asking me to be a bit more thorough when I do the mulligan, kind of explain my thought process. So my thought process with aggro specifically, and I'm only speaking for like evasives or aggro lists when I say this, you want to mulligan all your kind of high costs, right? So I have got rid of the Aladdin, Dragonfire, and Mad Hatter here. You can get rid of this Tinkerbell as well, but I'm not going to. I think it's correct to keep it. But the main thing I'm looking for is a way to get to like our first 3 turns, right? And this is if you're going first or second, whatever. You want a 1 cost, a 2 cost, and a 3 cost. And then if you have all that, you can look for a 4 cost, and also just like inkable cards, right? Like I'm never keeping this Dragonfire because it will be turn 5 by the earliest I can use it, and I've just wasted all my time explaining my thought process. Thankfully we had quite a good mulligan. But yeah, like you would never keep this Dragonfire. You could think about keeping this Aladdin if you know you're against an aggro list. But yeah, so just to go back over what I was going to say, you could keep this Mad Hatter as well just for ink if you wanted, but you would definitely ink this Dragonfire, and you'd definitely mulligan this Dragonfire, and I would also get rid of this Aladdin unless you know you're playing against Evasives. See, and I've just drawn another Dragonfire, so you know, it is what it is. But I will get rid of, for this specific scenario, we're against Amethyst, so I feel like it's going to be quite a more controlled deck, so we're not really going to need Aladdin for this, so I'll just go for that, and then I'll play Tibbs as well. And I'll also explain the thought process for why you want to play more minis than Tibbs, or I guess any 2/2, like 2 Versal Turn as well can also be like a substitute for Tibbs. The reason is just because in this game you have a high health stat, it means you can quest more. So this Archimedes hit, if I had Mini here and I quested, Mini can survive 2 hits, or I guess not against the Felicities, but you know, she can survive 2 hits, whereas Tibbs doesn't. It trades, sure, but Mini also trades if they hit twice, so that's kind of the thought process there. I'm also going to ink this Mad Hatter here now, just because we've got Cusco, and Cusco is like the best turn 5 play you can go for. But yeah, Now, I'm not going to trade. We're an aggressive deck, so we just want to get to 20 quest. No point in trading, we want to let them handle all that. We are playing a Sapphire Amethyst, which is quite interesting, so I'm definitely going to expect a lot of like ramp and maybe like some bells. Getting Scar as well, so definitely they're going to be trying to get to their like high cost cards, and they're going to be drawing a lot of cards as well. It's just the Amethyst package. It's what the ink color kind of wants to do. So there's a trade as well, that's fine. It's kind of what you're going to expect. The opponent's going to be trading to us. So we can ink this Flynn as well. Kind of wish I mulliganed this Dragonfire, which that's why I don't explain it as well, by the way, just because that will happen. I think there's a timer here as well, but you can't see it because there's like a card covering it. But yeah, I'm getting this Flynn just because we already know turn 3, 4, and 5. So turn 3 will be Cat, turn 4 will be Tinkerbell, and turn 5 will be Cusco. So Flynn is kind of like, doesn't come in that like game plan at all. So I'll go ahead and ink that, play Cat, and then, you know, as aggro decks kind of go, I'm just going to turn my card sideways and hope the opponent lets me get to 20 before they can just beat me. So yeah, I do think Evasives are in a good spot right now. I think like the more the game gets discovered, the less good it will get. At least until we get a different set. Mainly just because aggro is always kind of good when games are new, because people don't know like the counterplay for it. Obviously, you have transferable skills if you've played Magic the Gathering or anything with like an aggro, anything with like any card game really. Like you can beat aggro in one of them. You know the steps to take. So thankfully they've sung with both their characters. Oh, they've gone straight into Bell, which is fine. Can probably Dragonfire that as well. We have 2 in hand, so why not? Gonna ink this Maui, just because Maui kind of has the same kind of uses as Dragonfire. So we can give something evasive, it doesn't matter really, it doesn't change anything. I could trade this Flynn into the Felicities, but I'm not gonna bother. I'm just gonna quest. We want to kind of finish the game before the opponent gets to 10 in the Inkwell, because then Bell just kind of ends the game like 2 turns from that point. Not like literally 2 turns, but it will be 2 turns before the game ends. And then hopefully we can top deck an Inkable card. And then we can either go Cusco or Dragonfire. I think right now I'm happy to go Cusco, just because Bell's questing for 1, and you know, she becomes scary when she gets closer to 10. If they were at like 9 ink right now, I'd probably Dragonfire it, but 5 is totally fine. You know, they can still play like Mickeys and 1-jumps and stuff like that, but you know, it's whatever. They discarded a card here. It looks like they discarded an Archimedes. No, we traded those. They discarded the Friends, I'm pretty sure. No, they would have played. They discarded the Scar. Sorry, it's difficult to tell because they've inked 2 Scars, I think. So we can't go Hans. They have 1 card in hand, so you know, I should feeling fine. And then if we get to 5 ink as well, so if we don't play the Hans and we ink it, then we can go to 5. So then we can guarantee Cusco this turn, and then we can just back-to-back Dragonfire if they play 2 big cards. Right now, Bell and Maleficent are totally fine targets for Dragonfire in my opinion. Maleficent questing for free, then I don't think they're really going to ever really win this race until Bell gets to the 10 ink mark. But, you know. Cool, so we can just play this Flynn. Yeah, if we Dragonfire this... You want to Dragonfire some Maleficent? Right now, I think we don't really need to. So I could just quest with everything. And then Cusco should soak up some pressure. I'm thinking they're probably going to hit Bell and Maleficent into it. If they need to order it correctly. It's not a very difficult like thought process, but they just need to hit Bell first and then Maleficent. Or otherwise the Cusco will just trade the Bell for free. Or they can Hades. Obviously they can't Hades the Cusco, but you know, they can Hades the Evasive, which is an issue too. They don't want to get rid of the Cusco, which is totally fine by me. They're at 7, and they're questing for 7. So I'm questing to 19. So I think if I play this Aladdin, I force them to have Hades or let it go. And with 1 card in hand, I don't think they're going to be able to get 10 ink for Bell. They could draw cards with like Friends on the other side and stuff like that, but I think like I'm in a very comfortable position. Okay, cool. So they're going to Hades the Aladdin. Quite scared now that they've done that, but we are only 1 ink away. They're going to discard that last card as well. Okay, so they're questing for 4. Nope, they're just going to hit everything into Cusco. They did that in the wrong order, which is really good for me. Like I've said in previous videos as well, it is going to be a while until we get to like the higher ranks where people aren't going to make those like kind of obvious misplays. So they're questing for 6 to 18. So what I am going to do is I am going to pay to bounce this Maleficent. And plus we just need 1 card to stick. We just need 1 character off the top. we'll be fine. So we know the last card in the hand's Maleficent. Is that even enough? Okay, that'll do. That will definitely do. Okay, so we can play this. Doesn't matter what we do. We could, sure, ready grammar. And then I can Dragonfire. So they're questing for 7. So if I get rid of this Maleficent, they're definitely not going to get to 10 ink. They're questing for 4. They only go to 19. So they need to top deck like a Hades or a Let It Go in this scenario. Which if they do, fair enough, I lost. But yeah, so now they need to top deck a Friends on the other side. And they need to play that to find a Let It Go and an inkable card. Which I don't think they're gonna get. They shouldn't do at least, like for the sake of my rank. But yeah, cool. So it looks like they're gonna go to 19. And they're gonna pass a really close game there. But you know, we squeaked it out, especially after failing the mulligan. Bronze 4 as well, so slowly getting up there. Cool. Okay, game 3. Last two games went pretty well, so I'll quickly skim over this mulligan a lot quicker than I did in the last one. Gonna get rid of everything other than the cat and the tibs. There's a high likelihood that we do find a turn 2, and then even if we don't, we've guaranteed a turn 3, so that's fine. We don't find a 2 ink card necessarily, but we do find Shield, which we could just play on turn 2 anyway. It sets up for the Cusco or just the Aladdin even next game, something I've not really spoke about as well. The shifted Aladdin is really good at resetting. Like, it's really good when you can reset it, is what I'm trying to say. So I'll just go ahead and Pongo quickly and play my turn out so I can talk. I'll go for my own mini. Yeah, so the shifted Aladdin, it steals 2 lore when it banishes an opposing character. So you can do that multiple times. You can attack with it, and then use shield, attack with it again, and then use LeFou, attack with it again. And then you can like steal 6 lore, which is like a 12 lore swing, which is like nearly the whole game. So it's really good. Obviously that's like a crazy scenario which is like never going to come up, but you know, just all the implications and combos that you can kind of get away with. Opponent's playing Amber Ruby here, which you know, is an interesting combination for sure. I'm gonna ink this Hans. I think even though it does quest for free, I still prefer just the evasive word a lot of the time. So yeah, turn 2 worked out quite nicely. I can play shield and tips, so that's not too bad, and then we can go ahead and quest. And the opponent can't get rid of this mini next turn. Even if they trade in both of these, then you know, we can still quest for at least another one. Which is like I was saying in the last game, the reason you'd want to play mini over the Sergeant Tibbs or the Duke is just because it has free health. Really, you're never really going to be attacking with mini. There are some evasive decks where you use Megara to give it a bonus attack to attack over Simbas, but really, if you're spending the first couple of turns attacking, unless it's an aggro matchup, you're kind of falling behind on your initial game plan. Yeah, Lantern's been played quite a lot recently. It's a really good card. I think we saw it in game 1. It only costs 2, so it like basically pays for itself. We just see the Aladdin from the opponent. I think I'm gonna go ahead and ink this Peter Pan. Thinking if I want to play Aladdin or Cat. Think I will play Aladdin, just because it looks like the opponent's playing an aggro deck 2. And then I am going to go ahead. I'm deciding if I want to quest or hit into the mini. I'm not sure what the opponent's playing. So they could be playing mid-range, they could be playing aggro. So I'm not sure if I want to spend the turns to kind of be attacking. But at the same time, sure, I'll hit in. Just because they kind of have an aggressive first turn, and none of our units are being traded, at least on our attacks, so that's fine. And the next time I can just go tank into Pongo, and then hopefully I can shift into a big Aladdin and just kind of clean up from there and start stealing the lore back. Second lantern, which is scary. Nothing. Didn't attack, didn't quest, nothing. That's great. I love to see that. So I'll go ahead and ink Flynn, and then I can just play. I'll play Pongo now. Obviously, Tinkerbell is better than Pongo. Do I want to leave this Aladdin? If they want to trade Aladdins, that's fine. Yeah, so Pongo is better than Tinkerbell. Sorry, is better than the Pongo just because you can give a character evasive. This includes opposing characters as well. So if the opponent has a bodyguard character, you can give it evasive, and then you can attack over it basically with non-evasive characters because they're unable to attack the bodyguard. So they just kind of get like a free pass. But in that scenario, the Pongo is better because you can then use this ability at some point. So the opponent's going to shift into Aladdin. I'm not sure how the interaction works with the lanterns and shifting, but I guess we just found out that that does work. So if I knew that, I probably wouldn't have been questing as heavy. So that kind of sucks. But it's not the end of the world. Opponent's only got 2 cards in hand. Yeah, and we are an evasive deck, so we don't have to necessarily worry too much about this Aladdin, unless it has evasive, which there's no way for it to get evasive with Amber, so we can go ahead and quest with all our evasive stuff. So there's no point in cleaning up this mini. And then I'll set up this cat. So the reason I'm going to set up this cat is because if they want to attack the Aladdin into the cat, that's totally fine with me. They do steal another 2 lore, which is annoying, but the cat trades into the Aladdin like every time, so that's kind of that. We just want to find a way to remove this Aladdin, and that's the great thing about Evasives as well, which is kind of why I prefer Evasives to a lot of other aggro lists. It doesn't have card draw, and it has very obvious like setbacks, but just evasive keyword and just being really annoying and just denying your opponent for attacking is just like kind of what you want to use it for. So you kind of, you know, go from this like early game of like questing for 2 of everything to just like an unkillable board basically. I'm kind of hoping for like a genie, honestly. So then we can just bounce this Aladdin. Cusco's fine too. Cusco does the same thing as cat, where it will trade itself, so that's totally cool. So I'll quest with both of these, and then yeah, we're not looking too bad, honestly. The opponent's still got like 3 cards in hand, so they still have options, but they're not really doing much other than threatening with this Aladdin, and we have answers for it. Like the cat and the Cusco can trade perfectly into it, and the Pongo, the Aladdin can't hit. So, you know, I'm feeling good. We are in top deck mode though, which is the only issue I have with this deck, is that, you know, you're just always in top deck mode, and the only card draw is Mad Hatter, and the opponent is never really like attacking into Mad Hatter if they got the choice. There's always a way to play around it. But yeah, so we saw that the opponent has a You Have Forgotten Me, which would be quite devastating if it was done like a turn earlier. But you know, we only got 1 card in hand, so it doesn't really matter. We're kind of just playing off of our top deck anyway. We saw Rapunzel to draw them some cards, which is also annoying. But like I say, if the Aladdin wants to attack into the cat, more than welcome for me. The questing for 5 on board, so we've got kind of 2 turn clock. We are questing for 8, so you know we should win before the opponent reaches those 2 turns. But yeah, we set up a really scary board here. We do have Maui, which yeah, I'm so gonna use Maui. That's a fantastic top deck. Just trade into the Aladdin. It's perfect for me. And then we're not gonna ink this Tinkerbell. The reason is because our most expensive card in this deck is 6. Well, I guess it's 7 with the Aladdin, but we're mainly shifting that so we can attack with it straight away. So I like to sit at 5 ink, and then if we top deck the Genie, we can just ink this card and play a Genie, and then get the maximum like value out of it. But then if we don't, and we draw like a 2 cost, or like I guess a 1 cost card in this scenario, we can play the Tinkerbell and the 1 cost. So we just get more options just by holding this, and there's no real benefit to inking this card right now. Opponent's going to use Maui, probably going to trade to the Cusco, makes sense to me. We are going to trade back, so that's great as well. And then we can maybe use the shield here next turn, so we can quest with Pongo, play Tinkerbell, well I guess not play Tinkerbell, but we can play Pongo, or quest with Pongo, sorry, quest with something else, and then ready the other thing. Kind of gives it like a budget evasive. The opponent has a really hard time hitting it, especially with Ruby and Amber. The opponent's just not going to be able to hit it, I don't think, so it's quite good there on that front. Kind of sets up these like checkmate scenarios. It's really, really good with Cusco, because Cusco has ward, so the opponent has to target it to get rid of it if it's not excited, and it's never really going to be excited if you're primarily playing for this Shield of Virtue combo. It's also important to know that this is kind of just more of an expensive LeFou, which you can use multiple times. But yeah, so we are looking good. We have 5 quests on board. The opponent's got 2 ink to play with, and I don't think they can really do anything with Rush, not for 2 ink at least. So I think we're going to get this game in the bag too. Rockstar Stitch didn't come out. Rockstar Stitch normally wins games if you play it turn 4, but anything past that, you kind of are playing for that later game. And yeah, so we can just quest for 5, end this game, and yeah, that's another win. We're going really well. Okay, game number 4, I think this is. Probably gonna make it the last one of the video. Don't want to really, you know, be posting too much evasives, but I think for the series I probably will bounce between evasives and Amber Steel Songs, just because I feel like they're the 2 decks that I'm probably the best at the moment. So, you know, if I'm trying to go for a high rank, it makes sense to me to play the decks that I'm the best at. If you made it this far in the video, comment evasive Aladdin is the keyword. I'm going to try to do this like keyword stuff at in the last game of each video, just to kind of see, you know, who sticks around and just get like a grasp of how many people kind of stick around to the end of videos. Just for my own sake, it's not really got a massive use or anything. But yeah, not a bad start. Like I say, we've mulliganed in for turn 2, turn 1, 2, and 3. So turn 2 we're just going to do a Flynn. And again, I spoke about in every game so far, I think the reason you play mini is this example right here. So if you play any other 1-drop 2/2, they just kind of get traded by the Archimedes here, and you only get the 1 lore out of it. But in this case, we're going to get 2 lore out of this mini, provided that they don't play anything to clear it. Just this one-on-one like card action, you'll get 2 lore out of the mini, which you won't get with the other 1-drops. But you know, I feel like I've spoken enough about that. You've definitely got it by now. I probably will be repeating myself in a couple of the episodes, just because people don't watch like all of them. Yeah, see, like that is such a random card for the opponent to use. So yeah, I'm never playing around this unless, you know, I see the same guy, which I'm not going to remember the name just because. But yeah, I'm never playing around that, so whatever. They're gonna get. I mean, it worked for them this game, I guess, but I wouldn't ever fear that card. And if I was in like a physical tournament or in like a higher elo match. But yeah, you know, the principle of the mini was still there, and yeah, I'm never expecting that. So we've got 2 tinks. Next time we can go on to the evasive package quite quickly. We've got the Peter Pan on board now. 1-drop Maleficent, it's not really doing much, to be honest. The opponent might race us, but if they're discarding a card, which it looks like they are with the Flynn, that means they've used, with this Archimedes, they've used Archimedes itself, which is 1 card. This is 2 cards, and then 3 cards out of their hand, just on a 1-drop. So if they play a card now, they're going to have 2 cards in hand, which is like nothing. We draw a 3rd Tinkerbell, so obviously I'm going to ink 1 so I can play 1. And then next turn, we can even... I guess I have to get the Maleficent evasive, which is fine. Yeah, and then next turn, if we can play this one if we don't find an inkable card, and then we'll be sat on 2 Dragonfires for when we do get to 5 ink, which would be quite good. Because, you know, the people aren't really going to be playing many threats that you're going to want to Dragonfire until like turn 5 anyway, so... yeah, the only issue is that it's uninkable, but if this card was inkable, it would be probably like the best card in the game anyway, so it's not concerned. We do play 2 in this deck. I think it's just mainly filler. We do have like the Maui, the Genie, and the Mother Knows Best. Honestly, I think Mother Knows Best is probably a bit better than... Okay, so I got Pongo, which trades into the Peter Pan, which is fine. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think Mother Knows Best is better than Dragonfire in this deck specifically. But what I am going to do is I'm going to hit this Peter Pan into this Maleficent, just because the Pongo can trade into it anyway. And only quest for 1 anyway, so we're missing 1 quest, but slowing them down by 2, so that seems worth for me. It seems like we're in an aggro v aggro matchup. Amethyst Ruby is quite an odd pairing. Obviously, if you're playing control, it's definitely not an odd pairing, but for an aggro deck, it's definitely an odd pairing that you don't see too often. We are already at 6 ink. Next time we're going to get to 11, provided that you don't trade these 2 cards into each other. If they do anything with this Pongo, whether it be hit this Tink or quest, I'm just going to smack this Peter Pan into it. You know, then that kind of slows them down as well. In aggro matchups, you're going to want to be the person who is making all the trades. So like this, to me, doesn't make any sense. Obviously, the opponent's playing kind of like a bad deck, dare I say. But like, all this trading and then using that Dragonfire doesn't make much sense to me. So what I can do is I can ink this Peter Pan, so I can play Dragonfire and then go into a Genie, or I can just play this Peter Pan, which is what I'm going to do. And actually, I'm just going to quest. The reason because we want to be super aggressive, and if we trade into the Pongo, we're losing quest, or losing lore, I guess is the correct term. And then on their turn, if they hit with anything, we're getting the same outcome of trading a unit, because we don't care really which one goes. Obviously, we prefer the Tinkerbell to stay alive, but we're losing a unit, but that's going to happen anyway, so it's best just to get the lore out of it now. We do have kind of like a dead hand if we do draw anything. Okay, they got Mulan. Mulan can't hit anything because it's not evasive, so that's fine. Like I say, sticking to the evasive thing. I can just use Mother Knows Best to bounce it. Slows him down a turn. And then next turn, if we find an inkable card, I could just Dragonfire it. And then turn after, if they play another one, we could just Genie it. Kind of just like the super annoying mid game of this deck is just bouncing and just removing all their stuff. and then when they do have stuff stick, we just don't let it hit any of our units. But yeah, in the late game we've had like Cusco, things like that. Super straightforward deck, and actually really cheap. Well, not really cheap. I don't think this game is really cheap at the moment, just simply because it's so hard to get hold of. But yeah, as far as decks go for this game, this deck is the budget deck to go for sure. So if we quest now, we go to 15. Obviously we're going to quest anyway, so I'll just visualize it a bit. And then my options are, if I play this Hans now, if I've just got one card in hand, I'm just going to play this Hans just because Dragonfire doesn't really do anything. Their Mulan is not doing anything attack wise. They can quest with 1, which does like nothing. And then my main kind of worry is if I play this Dragonfire and then yeah, get an uninkable, I'm kind of just stuck. So we do win this game. I will say the opponent had a very interesting deck. I think the strategy was just go super aggressive. Mulan has seen a lot more like play, but I'll speak about that in another video. This has been Road to Rank 1. Thank you for watching. Remember the keyword evasive Aladdin. Comment that if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.